Hi, my name is Emma and I've done something stupid. I am in the middle of 47 different book series. Today I am making this video for myself. I need some help. I need somewhere where I have everything together. I've also made an Excel spreadsheet. Essentially what we're going to be doing today, I am surrounded by a mountain of different piles of books, is going through the series I'm reading. This does not count, those 47 in no way counts toward the list of series I am going to be DNFing, but I did want to mention those in this video as well, just so I have like a cohesive series video that I can refer back to, you guys can refer back to. Throughout this thing I'll also be recommending a series. I'm going to split this into the genres that the series fall into so you can skip around if you're interested. We're just going to clean up this mess that I've created. We're going to see what I don't want to read anymore, what I'm loving, what series I want to prioritize, and just have a good time, hopefully. Please let me know which of these I should prioritize, and as well, like, maybe you could vote on which ones I should read first, because I definitely do have a few in here that I'm not sure. I'm not certain if I want to continue, so we're gonna find out. We're gonna start with the DNFs just so I can get those out of the way, and then we're just gonna go into the rest of them. These ones are gonna be super duper quick. I'm not gonna give too much of an explanation for some of these because a lot of these you're gonna see are like older series that I just have never continued on with. The first DNF of this video is going to be the James Bond series. I read Casino Royale a couple years ago. Why? Don't have anything to say about that other than that I hated it. Not probably for the reasons you're thinking, so DNF. Okay. Next up, I don't think I'm ever going to finish the I Hunt Killers series by Barry Lyga. I was obsessed with the series in high school. I read the first 2 books. I loved them, but it's just not something I really want to continue on with anymore. Essentially, this kid finds out, or he knows that his dad is a serial killer, and he kind of has to deal with all of this. So, I don't know, just not super interested anymore, but there it is. Next up, Divergent. No. Goodbye. I have no memory of even reading the first book. I only read the first one, so we're just gonna pretend that never happened. The Art of a Scythe series by Neil Schusterman? I really did not like this young adult series. This is a relatively newer series in which the world is just this dystopian mess where people become scythes to essentially control the population of humans because I think we can like live for a very, very long time or something, or yeah, I just thought this was completely boring, honestly, so DNF. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. What a man. But DNF, I'm sorry, did not like this. The Folk of the Air series by Holly Black, really, really did not like this. I thought this was awful, like just so bad. I read the first 2 and I just could not bring myself to finish the last one, so DNF. I'm kind of sad that I want to DNF Caraval, the Caraval series by Stephanie Gerber. I don't know, the first one, I really loved the first book, Caraval. It was so magical. It's this like extremely fantasy, beautiful world, but like I read the second one and it just kind of went off the rails for me, so bye. The Winternight trilogy by Catherine Arden, I was also severely disappointed by this, and I was kind of shocked because I thought I was going to love this, but did not. 3 Dark Crowns. This is one of the worst young adult books I've ever read, so DNF. Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. Didn't like it. DNF. The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. Also not for me. The Blood Heir trilogy by Emily Wenzel. Also not interested. This one hurts because I really wanted to love this one. The Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. I read Jade City last year and I was just not loving it at all. There were a lot of problems with the book for me. I just didn't connect with it, so DNF. The Wayward Children series as well. I don't even know. Really just did not gel with me, so DNF. And then we have some on my shelves that I'm going to be DNFing. The first one is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. This is a very, very loose Romeo and Juliet retelling. It's also one of the worst books, one of the worst young adult books I've ever read, so unfortunately DNF. You guys can probably find my thoughts on this in a bunch of videos from December of last year, so that is that one. I think I gave this like 1 star. The Alex Stern series by Leigh Bardugo. A lot of these are really new series, which is also kind of disappointing, but I also read Ninth House last year. Really did not like it, like, at all. And it really pains me because I bought a lot of these beautiful hardcover editions of these. Same goes for Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. I also did not fully, like, I did like it, but it's not a series that I would like continue on with and get super invested in, if that makes sense. So DNF. You can also bet your buttons I will not be reading the sequel to Ready Player One, so no thank you. And then just a couple more series. Thankfully we have Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Really did not like this very much, so I will not be continuing on, I don't think. Like, I have heard it gets better, so that's encouraging, but just like for the moment at least, it is going on the DNF pile because it's not something that I was super in love with. And finally we have The Wren Hunt by Mary Watson. This is a young adult kind of fantasy mystery book. There's not strictly a series, but there are a bunch of companion novels I think coming out, and it's just not something I want to continue on in that universe with, so yeah. My soul has been cleansed. Okay, very good. So now we can prioritize all of the series that I want to continue. We have 47 of them to go through. Buckle up. Okay, so I think we're going to start with classics because there's really not a lot here, but there's a couple series that I will for sure be continuing on with. The first is just the whole Agatha Christie cinematic universe. I will 100% probably read any book by her now, even though I haven't read that many, but they're just things I love. I'm so excited to pick up anything that she's written, and I am currently at the moment working my way through the Poirot series, so I'm really not that far through. I did read Murder on the Orient Express. This was the first book I read by her, actually my least favorite, but I do have the third book, I think, in the Poirot series on hold, so definitely looking forward to continuing with this because love it. I had no idea that Beloved by Toni Morrison was a series or that there were more books in this one, but absolutely will be continuing on. I gave this book 5 stars. It was incredible, one of my favorite reads from last year, and I had no idea there were more until I looked it up. So definitely continuing on with Beloved. Highly recommend. Adore. Now, Anne of Green Gables could have gone into the middle grade category or children's, but just classic. Such a classic, so wonderful. One of my favorite reads of the year so far. I cannot wait to read more. I cannot wait to read Anne of Avonlea, and I have a few more from her here, so I'm just so excited. This was spectacular. If you want to do yourself any kind of favor, read Anne of Green Gables. Read Anne of Green Gables, no matter who you are. I think you will love it. So those are kind of the classics that I have, and then I think we're just going to swing into young adult because I think this might be not the biggest, but certainly one where I have a bunch. So we're going to start with probably the oldest here. And the first one is Shatter Me by Tahar Mafi. I even have like the older edition covers. I have read the first 4 books in here, so I have 2 more books technically, but then she also puts out a novella in between each of the 6 books, so technically that's a lot more, even though I have read one of the novellas. But is this objectively a good series, a good book? No, absolutely not. Do I still appreciate it, and do I want the garbage? Yes, I do. Garbage is valuable. Oh, the good old Selection series by Cassie Clare. Oh my god, no, it's not by Cassandra Clare. What am I saying? Who wrote The Selection? Kiera Cass. Wow, this is taking me back. I never finished the series. I only read the first 2, but it was not good, but I still want to read it because, again, there is a place in my heart for trash. I keep that door open. Another older young adult series that I kind of want to continue is Mask of the Red Death by Bethany Griffin. I don't actually know what this series is called, but this is set in a futuristic kind of dystopian world where Edgar Allan Poe's short stories and the plagues and the disasters and the scary things, the gothic elements that go on in his stories appear in the real world, and so this world is suffering from the Red Death, which is a plague. So I'm kind of interested in continuing on, mostly because it's just a lot of gothic elements that I want, and I only read the first one, so that is that. Next up, we have His Fair Assassin. Really want to continue with this one. I remember loving this when I was like first getting into young adult. I really adored this fantasy series. I think I read the first 2 The first was definitely my favorite. This is about a group of assassins, and death is a huge character in this, which I love, so kind of want to continue on with this one. Probably, I don't know if it's my favorite young adult series of all time, but the Madman's Daughter series, I think that's what it's called, by Megan Shepherd. I love. There are 3 books in the series, and for some reason, I've been reading the series since like 2014, and I've only read the first 2, but I do have the last one on my shelf. So essentially they are gothic retellings of The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and the last one is a retelling of Frankenstein. And we all follow Juliet, who is the daughter of Dr. Moreau, which is just, oh, it's just so good. I love it. So definitely want to read these eventually, but I think I want to reread them too. Then we have Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. I think that's what the series is called. I only read the first one a while ago. I kind of remember not too much about it other than falling in love with all of the characters. So I do have Traitor to the Throne. I think I found this thrifted, so it looks brand new, but I might need to reread the first one. I haven't heard too many people talk about this. I kind of forget everything that happened in it, but kind of interested because I did buy this a long time ago. All right, then we have The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. This one is a super hesitant pick because like I read The Bone Season and I really didn't love it. I gave it 2 stars, but this is a super long running series. So many people says it gets a tons and tons better, so kind of interested in continuing on with this, and I do maybe want to give it another go. Finally, a series that I just love. This isn't like, it's kind of a companion novel series, so it's not a strict series, but this is The Ravenspire World, the Ravenspire novels by C.J. Redwine. The Bloodspell is one of my new favorite young adult books. I read this last year, loved it. I've also read The Wish Granter. These are all fairy tale retellings, so this one was Cinderella and The Wish Granter is Rumpelstiltskin, and I think there's at least 2 more, but I hope she keeps writing them because I love this so much. An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir is one that I'm going to put on here super hesitantly because I did not love An Ember in the Ashes by any means, but again, if the series does get better, please let me know. The Memoirs of Lady Trent. I think this is young adult. I don't really know. I think it reads a bit older, so this might not be young adult, so forgive me. But this is about Lady Trent, who is a dragon naturalist. She studies dragons. She's telling us about her life. I read the first one last year. I thought this was an incredibly cool concept. The execution was definitely not as strong as I wanted it to be, so again, if you've read this, let me know where this one should fall. Ooh, the Frostblood Saga by... Who's this by? She's a Canadian author. Frostblood. I don't know. The Frostblood Saga, though. I really loved the first one. Oh, Ellie Blake? Is it Ellie Blake? I really, really liked the first one, even though it is just your absolutely standard cut and paste young adult fantasy novel. Like, it literally works in every single trope. But for me, it worked so well for some reason. Like, I think it was just executed really well, in my opinion. I love the characters. I love the romance. There's tons of banter, tons of, like, enemies to lovers going on, and I just really, really liked it. So I'm, like, so stoked to continue the series. It was such a wonderful companion in the winter months as well, so honestly super excited for this. Another one I'm really excited for. Okay, these are definitely at the top. Definitely ones that I want to continue. I don't know what this series is called, but the first one is A Song of Wraiths and Ruin. That might also be what the series is called. This is by Roseanne A. Brown. I read this last year, fell in love, loved it. I know the second book I think came out this year already, so definitely looking forward to this. I love this. Again, the characters were so believable. It felt so real. I loved the writing, the pacing, the conflicts, everything about this I thought was just so well done, and I would highly recommend if you're looking for a new young adult fantasy to fall into with lots of important issues discussed. There's a ton of mythology in here, and I just really, really liked it. That is all of young adult, and I think we'll just segue right into fantasy because I have a ton to talk about here. See, I don't get motivated to continue series based on like my fear of forgetting them because I think I have quite a good memory, so that's not something that motivates me to finish a series. I don't typically need to like reread or go back. I can just kind of follow along even if it's literally years later, so that's kind of why I have 47 on the go. But as well, like I do want to just, finish some, prioritize some, give you my full thoughts on some, just be able to like have a lot more series kind of finished because I really don't have a lot finished. So this first one pains me deeply. George. George, maybe if you gave us something, I would continue. I would consider finishing this. But you're giving us nothing. George, where is it? George, where's your book? I've said this before, but I just don't want to finish the series when I know the series might never be finished. The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I read this a couple years ago. I didn't love it. So this is another really hesitant one. Like, I can see the series getting so good, but just this first book did not capture my attention. I really did not like our main character. I just found it a little bit boring, honestly, and I was like kind of just waiting for the story to happen, but a lot of this, of course, is just him growing up in the first book, but I am so certain that in the second one things will pick up, so I think I want to continue. But once again, Patrick and George are on an island getaway somewhere, and they're not writing their books, and they're laughing at all of us. The Court of Thorns and Roses series, that's what this is called, right? I do want to continue this. I read A Court of Thorns and Roses in 2020. Super underwhelmed by it, but again, this is one that I've heard just gets a lot better, and I do want to like give it another shot kind of thing, and also rescind. So yes, the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon is something I do really want to continue. I really enjoyed the first one, and I had the second one on my shelf. It's just that they're like super long to get through, so this is definitely one that I want to continue though, and I really enjoyed it. This is probably like priority number one when it comes to fantasy, because I've only read The Hobbit and The Fellowship, which I don't know why, because I really love this so much. At this point, I do want to go back and reread The Hobbit as well, and then reread this, and then go through them all. Another one here, this is definitely kind of at the bottom. I'm not sure if I want to continue this. This is Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Marillier. This is part of the Seven Waters series, and I did like the first one. I read this a couple years ago now, but the next book I know doesn't follow the same set of characters, so I'm just not sure if that is what I want to kind of get into, but we'll see. I really like this. This is another fairy tale retelling, and I'd really recommend too. Then we have some fantasy romance that I do really want to continue. The first one is the Fortuna Sworn series by KJ Sutton. I love this series. I love it so much. I read the first 3 books, and this series, like, this never happens with me with this series where I just like gobble all the books up. I don't think I'm waiting actually on any of these series for like new books to come out, and like I know when they come out I'll just read it immediately. But with the Fortuna Sworn series, that's exactly what I'm waiting for. The 4th book comes out in December of this year, so I am patiently waiting. But this was just amazing. This like reignited my love and like kind of made me discover my love of fantasy romance, because I didn't know that really existed before. And I just really enjoyed this. We follow Fortuna, who is a nightmare. Her brother's been missing for so long, and when a fairy shows up saying that he will take her to her brother if she marries him, she says, "I do," and they go find her brother. But there's so much more than that. It's just, I don't know, it's just so good. It made me cry, it made me feel so much, and I just really appreciated this series for a number of reasons. So wow, don't think it's for everyone. It's a super dark fantasy at times as well, so please do know that, but really loved it. Same thing with the Bargainer series. I read the first one this year too, and like I liked it. I'm excited to see what the second book brings, because the first one built up a lot of things. The Earthsea Cycle by Ursula K. Le Guin, I don't know. I read the first one this year too, and like I really loved the beginning, but then I feel like it kind of lost me. I really liked it more than I was expecting to. I just loved all of those really cozy fantasy description and fantasy moments that we got. I really loved it. So I think I do want to continue on, but again, this isn't a priority. One that I do really want to, the Otherworld series by Emma Hamm. I don't think I've shut up about Heart of the Fae. Loved it so much, like absolutely ate that up. I cannot wait to read the second one, but we have Heart of the Fae, and then there's Veins of Magic, and those two are connected. That's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Definitely want to keep going with this, but then as well there's other kind of mini novel series, I think, in this world, which is called The Otherworld. So just absolutely love this, like so much. So I think that is the last fantasy one I have on this list. So definitely a lot of good ones here, and I'm really excited to read them. Super quickly, we have a couple of like historical fiction. The first one is this really random series, which is the Oscar Wilde murder mystery detective series. This is by Giles Brandreth. I read 2 of these by now. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is Oscar Wilde, but he essentially is Sherlock Holmes. And he solves a lot of mysteries. It's super well researched. It's so good. It's so funny. I was expecting this to be a kind of like weird disappointment, but one that was like so bad it was good, but it was actually just good. So would highly recommend if you haven't checked these out. Like I said, I read 2 of them, enjoyed both, so really want to read more. Then we have My Brilliant Friend by Lena Ferrante, part of the Neapolitan novels. It was brilliant. It was so good. I cannot wait to read the next one. If you're looking for a completely immersive kind of coming of age book that is so real, just like comes out of the page at you, highly recommend. Okay, and then I have 4 manga series that I'm currently in the middle of. The first one is Tokyo Ghoul. I literally have only read the first volume, and that was last summer. So I do really want to get my hands on the next one, because this was like my re-emergence into manga was through Tokyo Ghoul, which I appreciate so much. Because then I picked up Sailor Moon. I cannot wait to go through this whole series. I'm currently on volume 3. Which I do have, and I'm so excited to pick up. So just absolutely love this. They're like all 5 stars for me, and I cannot say anything bad about the series. Like, I just absolutely love it. Midnight Secretary is one that I don't know if I want to continue. This is about a secretary who starts to work for a vampire, and like it was just, this is like kind of the ones where it was so bad it was good. An Incurable Case of Love by Maki and Joji is a hospital drama that I want to give another shot to. I picked up volume 2, so we shall see. This was like pretty good, but I just didn't love it as much as I wanted to. It is again an enemies to lovers kind of storyline, and yeah, we'll just see. Alright, and finally coming down to the last few series that I'm continuing. Most of these are from my middle grade and children's shelf. So in no particular order, we have His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. This is book 3, but I've only read book 1, The Golden Compass. Really loved it, like loved it so much. Like a magical children's series that takes so much inspiration from Paradise Lost. Yes, it was so good, loved it. Another high priority is the Howl's Moving Castle series. Again, these are more like, I think, companion novels, but they're set in the same world, so I have the next one. Absolutely love this so much. This one, not so much. This is the Bartimaeus trilogy, and I read book 1 a couple years ago, so this is The Amulet of Samarkand by Jonathan Stroud. I enjoyed it while I was listening to it, but it wasn't anything that, like, you know, revolutionized my children's reading list, so I am unsure. Definitely not a priority, but as well, it's not something that I hated and want to like never touch again. The same goes with Lemony Snicket's newer series, which is All the Wrong Questions. I read volume 1, Who Could That Be at This Hour? I really do love Lemony Snicket. I really, really do. So I do want to continue on with this one too. This is like a completely new mystery series following, I think, young Lemony Snicket himself. It was wild. The Mysterious Benedict Society by Trenton Lee Stewart. This was fine. I don't know if I want to continue on with this. I think it's a fairly long series. Essentially, we follow a whole bunch of children who get inducted as detectives into this society and have to kind of save the world and stuff. So it was just okay. I know there's a movie coming out, so we shall see. And then finally, one of the last ones here I have is The Sight by David Clement Davies. I don't know if anyone knows this, but I really, really like this. I know there's another one in the series as well. This is about wolves. You just follow wolves, and I really liked it. I liked it so much. I thought it was so powerful. It gave me goosebumps when I was like 13 and reading it and being like, wow, this is incredible. And the last children's one I definitely want to read. This is one I just read last month. I listened to the audiobook. It was fantastic. And that is Nevermore, or The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. Loved it. Finally, the last category we have here is science fiction. So the first one, these are like all priority because I loved all of these so much. We have The Three-Body Problem, and I really, really liked it. I really want to read the second one, so highly recommend if you're looking for a new sci-fi series. We have a couple series from William Gibson, who is probably my favorite sci-fi author, so definitely want to get to the next one in both of these, although I think you can read them out of order as well, if I'm not mistaken. So that's Neuromancer and Iroru. We have the Forever War series by Joe Haldeman. So I read the first one. Actually, is this the first one? Forever Peace. I had to read this for a science fiction course that I took. I don't remember very much, so I'd love to reread it, but definitely not one that I would want to DNF. I think that I should finish these last two just because I made a lot of progress on the Themis files. This is about space exploration and giant robots and physics and weird projects, and I read the first two. They're all set in like an interview format, which is pretty compelling, so they'll kind of just think I should finish off the third one. And then finally, the very last series, I think, hopefully I haven't missed any, but we have the Aurora Cycle by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I read this year. Definitely does not compare at all to the Illuminae file series. That is just top tier, but this was still entertaining. And I think, is it a duology or is there another one after? I don't know, but we shall see. We shall give it a go. So there's just so many series that I've been reading, I think, for years, and it's gotten to the point where I'm just like, Emma, just finish a few. Thank you for coming to my confessional. Please forgive me. Like I said, please let me know which ones I should actually read and not just like keep on here for no reason if they don't get better. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and just witnessing this silliness that I've gotten myself into with all these series. I really want to make it a priority in upcoming reading vlogs to just finish a few series because I just keep starting new ones. And oh wait, I forgot one. I forgot N.K. Jemison's The Broken Earth series. Incredible. Definitely want to finish this one. I only have one more book, so anyway. Okay, that's the last one. Until then, I will see you soon. So, ciao.